And the last area for TCU capacity building is really around data and using data in the TCU institutional research space. And this work has focused on, the main theme here has really been using a strengths-based approach to work with our tribal college institutional research colleagues on the ground to move beyond compliance to data-informed strategy. So what this looks like is instead of just reporting data out from their institutions on institutional measures of success and student success, really using that data to inform their own decision making at their tribal colleges and to support their students. And there's been two recent specific areas of focus here for us, one in collaboration with the Cultivating Native Student Success team, so Lisa and Jonathan, to work with 5 tribal colleges to develop some data dashboards to inform strategic enrollment management at those institutions to help them look at some key indicators around their strategic enrollment management, things like the number of college applications they're getting, how many students are enrolling in their institutions every fall, what their student persistence and retention rates look like, and then longer term, what those graduation outcomes for the students they're serving are, to help them reflect on their strategic enrollment management strategies and how those are holistically and effectively supporting their students. And then in another area here has been working with the tribal colleges to really help them understand, onboard, and start using the post-secondary data partnership dashboards. And this is a tool from the National Student Clearinghouse that provides Tableau ready-made dashboards to colleges and universities across the United States. And it's just a really great data tool for tribal colleges to have in their data toolbox. And I've been working with the Transfer Pathways team and other folks at the College Fund in cultivating Native student success in other areas to really work with the TCUs on PDP adoption. So our next area of focus in our work is learning and impact. And what this really looks like is collaborating with our staff to explore and document the impacts and strengths of our work so that we can be a learning organization. So we can learn, we can adapt using those insights, and we can evolve in service of our mission. And this really has two main components, organizational and program learning, and also looking at how we're moving the needle with our programs and organizationally across our programs. So organizational impact and learning, this first area of focus really is looking at our impact and how we're moving the needle as an organization across all our programs around 4 main areas of impact. And those areas are the Native students that we serve through our scholarships and through our programming, how we support tribal college faculty and staff at TCUs, looking at how we're growing the capacity of our tribal colleges as partners and institutions, and how are we strengthening the Native communities that tribal colleges serve and support so that Native people and communities are thriving. And so this has been working with teams to really collect information and insights around these 4 areas of impact, look at them at the program level and also across programs to really think about organizational impact. And the organizational learning piece is really focused on strengthening who we are as a learning organization, both in our learning culture and our learning systems at the College Fund, and making sure that our learning approach is grounded in our values as an Indigenous-led organization. And what does it mean to be a learning organization? Well, the definition that we like to give is that a learning organization is one that values many types of knowledge and information, including lived experience, and applies those insights to really purposefully reflect on the work it's doing so that it can adapt, it can learn, and it can make decisions using all of that information that are driving continuous improvement in service of its mission to really benefit, in our case, the Native communities and people we serve. Within the organizational learning space, the idea of being a learning organization is really something that started with our CEO, Cheryl Crazybull, in 2017. She really brought this idea to the College Fund of becoming a learning organization. And we've built scaffolding out to really advance this goal over the last 5 years. In 2020, we piloted a program impact questionnaire and did some reporting in that space to really try to look at our programs and their outcomes and what we could say cross-programmatically about what we're working on and what our impacts are. In 2021, the Wise Hive database build-out began, and that's a really important piece of our data architecture for organizational learning. We also kicked off the Strategic Learning and Evaluation System project, which is designed to really come up with learning and evaluation values, vision, and principles and practices to drive our work in those spaces. Last year, we helped the executive team come up with strategic plan metrics to measure the progress of our 2022 to 2026 strategic plan. Also, the Wise Hive Scholarship Portal went live, which is a huge step in our database build out. And then this year, we're really focused on tracking those strategic plan metrics that are both qualitative and quantitative and reflecting on and reporting that information, and then continuing to build out Wise Hive. And a really specific example of some of our work in this space, which you all have been involved in, is the Strategic Learning and Evaluation System, which really looks to build from the ground up a vision for our learning and evaluation work, some core values in that space, and then set up some guiding principles and practices for how we will do that work, and then how we will learn around our new strategic plan. The other piece of our work in this space is really at the program level. So how do we learn about our programs across the organization? And this is everything from faculty development to native pathways to different scholarship programs. And we've done a lot of work in this area through our team, and some major areas of focus have been collaborating with staff teams to refine program outcomes and designs, both through evaluation reporting and also through the concepting process. This is an example on the far left of a nonlinear theory of change that Eric Dutilly developed with Heidi Normandin in the faculty development space that really shows the connection between program activities and how those drive certain program outcomes and goals in the TCU faculty development space. And this theory of change really helped Heidi think about how our programming components and faculty development fit together to really create this kind of scaffolding for TCU faculty when they work with us, and how those components are interconnected. In the middle, we have an example of a cohort analysis done with the Full Circle Coach scholars for the native pathways reporting and also for the Lilly reporting. And then finally, a recent report that we did looking at the history and impacts of our Sovereign Nations Scholarship Program. And I just included this slide because, there's been a lot of work that our team has done over the last 5 years in different areas around organizational learning and program learning and impact. And this just does a great job of showing, the breadth and depth of that work, ranging from theory of change work to individual program evaluations to data projects to organizational capacity building through strategic learning. And one specific example that we are going to just briefly feature today is really talking about one of our program learning initiatives through survey research that supports the Student Success Services team in student success coaching. And we have a set of 3 surveys that we do annually with our scholars at the College Fund. We have a spring and a fall survey with our Full Circle Coach scholars that really looks at their student experiences and their experiences with College Fund support services. We also do an annual TCU Scholar Survey, and we're working towards the development of our own alumni survey. And what's really important about this, the Full Circle Scholar Survey that we do both in the fall and the spring is it's a highly collaborative process. So we first developed it in collaboration with the Student Success Services team around program goals and objectives in the coaching space. for our scholars. And we go through this collaborative survey update process every year, which you can see on the left, to refine the instrument and make sure we're collecting data that aligns with programming. And then what's really cool is the Student Success Services team then uses this data from the Coach Scholar Survey to inform their coaching strategy, approach, and planning. And I want to thank Kelly Mitchell for the diagram on the right-hand side that really shows how those survey findings from the Fall and Spring Scholar Survey are used to really shape how the team prepares for coaching and tracks coaching throughout the calendar year. Our next section is on information systems and data tools, and this is really looking at our work to build information systems and use data tools like data visualization so that information at the College Fund is more accessible and can be used more effectively. And our first emphasis here is really on data storytelling and data visualization. So this is really looking at how we use techniques to visually represent our data, both stories and numbers, so that it's more compelling and it encourages learning, reflection, and using those insights. And one of the main projects that we have in this space is led by Eric Dutilly, and this project really looks at reimagining the core data points that we use every year at the College Fund, known as data stats. And these have been text-based and table-based data points shared with staff in a document since 2015. We've been working really hard to turn those tables and text into a set of data visualization, so visual graphs and figures that make the data more compelling and the insights clearer and more accessible. And this is just a great example of one of those visuals that looks at the 2021 application data from our scholarship applicants, breaks it down from applicants from TCUs and applicants from mainstream colleges and universities, and then looks at what percentage of those applicants are funded through our scholarships program, really helping us see and understand that we are supporting more tribal college students, and that more tribal college students who apply for our supports receive scholarships from us. And this process too, we really, I think collaboration is a theme here. We really want to acknowledge that the reimagining of data stats wouldn't be possible without the data stats committee, which is made up of College Fund leadership and staff to really guide our efforts in that space, as well as the quality assurance team that is also made up of College Fund staff that really helps Eric apply key data visualization principles to this work and make sure that the visuals we're creating are clear and really resonate. So we want to thank everyone that's been a part of this. The next piece is database implementation. Raj, please take us away.